Hey everyone, welcome to the Back 40 Feet where we talk about suburban, urban, and patio gardening. And it's harvest time here in the Back 40 and I'm going to be harvesting a bunch of eggplant. So I have several varieties of eggplant. So let's talk about what you would want to look for in terms of harvesting. So first of all, I always wear gloves when I'm harvesting my eggplants. Eggplants have thorns, not the fruit, but the plant. And the varieties that I grow say thornless, but that's all relative. There's actually, occasional spikes here and there on the underleaf of the leaves. So sometimes when you go in there to reach for a fruit, you just get a scrape right on the back of your hand. So I just wear a little bit of hand protection so that I don't get stabbed by some of the supposed thornless eggplant leaves. When you're looking at the eggplant fruits, you want a nice firm eggplant. You don't want it to start to get soft. An overripe eggplant is not a better eggplant. It can be a little bitter. Sometimes if you're really not sure and you cut into the eggplant, you see brown seeds. That's usually an indication that it got overripe. And it's not really going to ripen that much further when you take it off the vine. So eggplant is one of those fruits that you really want to just like harvest when you're ready to use it. It will store a little bit at room temperature on your counter, but over time it just starts to get a little squidgy and you just don't want to get fruit flies, especially in the peak of harvest season. So let's go check out the eggplants. So here is my graffiti type eggplant. Looks like a pretty good size. It's about 6 inches long and probably about 3 inches in diameter. So that looks like a pretty good size to pick. And if I look over here, you can see, oops, that there's a whole bunch more coming, but these are really tiny. The biggest one there is probably about 3 inches. So I can give them some more time to grow and just pick this one. And there we go. It looks really nice, no blemishes. And I just use a trimmer and cut right off here at above stem to pick it. If you try to pull on it, it's just going to damage the plant. So I just usually use my cutters there. And these are the miniature type eggplants here. These are called patio baby. And these are great for container gardening if you wanted to use this on your patio, hence the name. And when you look in there, they're about 2 inches long, the ones that I'm going to harvest, and some of the other ones there are still about 1 inch long. But what's great is they're kind of almost clustered like grapes, so you can end up picking about like 5 or 6 of these and have enough for whatever dish you're going to cook for your eggplant. But what's also nice with this particular size and why I like them is if you wanted to use these for a stir fry or just as a small side, or if you're not cooking for a big family, you can just pick 1 or 2 and that's your side for the day, and you don't have to have this big giant Italian eggplant that you'll be eating for the whole week, right? So here are my harvested eggplants. You can see that they look really nice, no blemishes. One of the reasons I really like growing eggplants by seed and in my garden, or even if it's not by seed, but in my garden, is that the skin of eggplant are really delicate. So when you go to the store or the farmer's market and you're buying eggplants, sometimes they just get really dinged up. And just like an apple, when they get bruised, that section just gets really, sort of yucky. So this way, you get the most out of your fruit. And here you can see the patio babies, how much smaller they are, but you can see that they're nice, pretty, purple, nice and shiny. So these are all ripe. And when I'm looking at this, probably the patio babies are going to be ending up about the same amount of weight when I add them together as this graffiti type. I'm planning to make some baba ganoush this afternoon. And these 2 eggplants that I picked, you can see that they are a bit on the greenish color, but they're still nice and firm. They don't have any squish to them at all. So I'm still going to try to cook them. Sometimes you can just get a discolored eggplant that doesn't have quite the right color to it, but it's completely fine as long as it's not squishy. And this one is looking a little funky. It's definitely not squishy. And if I cut open this and find that it's got a lot of brown seeds, I'm not going to add that into my dish because it could have a little bit more bitterness to it. Some people will remove the bitterness from an eggplant by soaking it in a bit of salt water. But again, it's just going to depend on how overripe it appears.